Hi guys, hope you're doing well. It's Fred and Sheila with Hatfield, McCoy Museum Adventures, and Sheila and Fred Investigates, or Fred and Sheila Investigates, I should say. This is number 6, as he said.
Number 6 in this series
Lava.
of Buford Pusser and Pauline Pusser. Guys, we're discussing, following up on the case where the prosecutors are alleging that Buford Pusser killed his wife.
Right.
Proof's not there. Proof's in the pudding, and the pudding is not showing
It's
it.
flat.
We're going to pick up where we left off at. There's the door panel in the back.
Yeah.
And we're going to pick up right where we left off. And we were talking about the fact that 30%, he says that it was interpersonal. That is a domestic violence. That reason she had a fractured nose. If she did have. We don't know that she did have.
Right.
We don't know that that's not something that's just put out there. We don't. In this case here, you can't trust nobody because people are on such of a task to prove something happened that didn't happen that you can't trust nothing. It could go, who's in charge of the evidence don't think that things don't happen in life. Don't think there's not dirty people out there. They are. And they're in law enforcement. They're in every field there is. Sad to say, but they are. So we were discussing, last thing we discussed was 30%.
30%.
They keep talking about this fractured nose and how it was a domestic violence that Buford killed his wife over a domestic. But yet, only 30% have broken noses. The other ones could have come from anything. There's a 70% chance that Pauline's nose was broken by something other than a domestic violence. And if it was broke from domestic violence, I'd look at her first husband, the one she divorced and run away from to Chicago. That'd be my suspect. And it wouldn't be hard to go back to them days to Pike County, Pikeville Hospital, pull medical records. And it surely wouldn't be hard to go to McNairy County in 1960, from 59 to 67 when she died, and see if there's any medical records for her.
If she was treated for any medical issues dealing with domestic violence. Yeah. Or is there any complaints against him for domestic violence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhumed was hard to accept when they exhumed the body of Madison Garrison Bush. Miss Bush, if I was you, I would be contacting me an attorney or 3. Because your grandfather's reputation has been slandered, in my opinion. Not a lawyer. Let's throw that disclaimer in there right now at the beginning of the video.
Exactly.
She always posts it at the end, but
right.
What we say, speculation, opinions, alleged. Lack of information leads to speculation, but I'm not an attorney, neither is Sheila, but we feel your grandfather has been slandered, his reputation. We feel that that's probably come about from books, bus tours, movies, and possible movies to come. Dewana, this is Dewana's child, Madison is. And of course, it's hard. She talks about how hard it is.
Yeah.
We did that in our first video or a second, but she talks and says, why did they bring this up for on her grandfather and grandmother? They've been through enough, and we agree. Well, they brought it up possibly because that's the root of all evil. And no doubt there's going to be a movie made on this. I had to choose to redress her.
Yeah.
After they was going to rebury her grandmother, Madison had to choose a dress, choose her new casket and a vault, and to rebury her and reinter her into the ground. She wrote McNairy County News on the anniversary of the murder. So she must not have went back in the ground. They dug her up on February the 8th, autopsy on February the 9th. No, I thought they said they put her back in the ground in April the 9th, April the something. So, but it says she wrote on the anniversary of her murder. Her murder would have been August the 12th.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't make sense. Okay.
A dead man cannot defend himself
That's what
and
she.
has been accused of an unspeakable crime. That was her words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what justice they've accomplished by pursuing this. We're going to the autopsy, guys. Hang on one second. Our family's been through enough. That's not the Buford I knew, said David Dickey, who was a pallbearer at Buford's funeral. I love Buford and his family. So whatever the facts are, they pan out on their own. But I don't believe it.
Yep.
Don't believe it, David. There is no facts. They are not presenting no facts to nobody. They're not presenting facts. They're presenting a story, a narrative, with no facts to support it, with no evidence to support it, with no witnesses to support it. Everything's disposed of or dead. No facts here, David. They are attempting to dazzle you with bullcrap. Once you set that all up, now this is Mr. Davison talking again from up top. Once you set that all up, I don't know that you have much choice but to run with it, Davison said. He's talking about, that was in the last
Staged.
video.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about being staged.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about Buford blowing his face off. He was talking about the domestic. And he says, once you set all this up, you have no choice but to go through with it. Talking about Buford going through, shooting himself, all these different things. And see, I put his own words right here back at him, Mr. Davison. Once you set it all up and you get these rumors going, because this YouTuber come to you or this book writer or this bus driver, and he says this and that, and he's running the TBI's investigation, and he's got all these allegations out there, and you run with it, and then you say, okay, let's do this, this, and this. Okay, let's dig the body up. Okay, once we run with it, then we have to produce. Because if we don't produce, TBI and prosecutor's office, we're going to look like a bunch of idiots. If we don't produce some kind of probable cause, something that would possibly get an indictment, then we're going to look like fools. We can't do that. So we have to produce, somewhat like he's alleging that Buford Pusser did. That's funny how sometimes things turn around. You know, when you point this finger at somebody, look at this finger. I'm pointing at Sheila. I've got 3 fingers and a thumb pointing back at me. That's why in the Marine Corps, when you're pointing at somebody, here's how you point. Get over there.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You point like this. Marines never point with their finger because when you point your finger,
Well, he's got
point
more
back at you.
Makes sense.
Again, my dad told me, Fred, you never have to make nobody look bad for you to look good. Guys, I'm not trying to let me and Sheila emphasize or reiterate that right here.
Yep.
We're not trying to make anybody look bad. We think they did that on their own. Sheila and I don't think we're that smart.
No.
We're good investigators and we look at every little detail and we pride ourselves in that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not that smart.
Exactly.
We wouldn't want to attack anybody's character, honesty, integrity. We don't want to do that. We'll put the evidence that we've got out there and what we can uncover, and then everybody makes their own conclusion.
That's right.
I don't think it's hard in this case. That's not my goal or Sheila's goal to make somebody look bad.
No.
But it was other people's goal to make Buford Pusser look bad. Isn't that funny how they set out to make Buford Pusser look bad? And in the end, I think history's going to tell that it turned around on them. Mm-hmm. It's going to backfire. I do believe. We believe. We don't cherish in that. We don't relish. That doesn't make us happy.
No, Lord, no.
I'm a little bit disgusted, and I know you can tell it in my voice during the last 6 videos. And demeanor, I don't mean to act like I'm not mad. I'm so disheartened.
Yeah.
I've got a YouTube channel, Fred McCoy 40, where I talk about bad police officers and bad prosecutors and bad people. And maybe someday some of these people is going to be on there if there's ever any evidence that comes out that it proves anything more. because I like to go by proof, but of course you have to run with what you've got after spending time, money, and resources that could have been spent on Sebastian and Summer.
Yeah.
They had to run with this case to prove their narrative. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. Would like to ask each other under oath if any of their ancestors was ever arrested or had any dealings negatively with Buford Pusser. If there's ever a lawsuit, I would, if I was the attorney, I would make sure that I ask each and every one of these people that's on that report, on that name that had on that report that their name is on, that had anything to do with this case. I would ask them directly, straight out, have you or any of your ancestors ever had any dealings with Buford Pusser,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with Carl Pusser?
That's a good question.
I would rule that out, number one, and I would do a check on it. Was any of them ever? Was any of your family ever arrested for moonshining? Was any of your family ever arrested for gambling or anything else illegal? Was any of your family ever fired from law enforcement by Buford Pusser? Was any? There's so many questions that leads me, guys. Who am I? I'm a YouTuber now. I'm a retired 40-year career police officer, but I'm a YouTuber. Who am I? But that would be my questions. There's more to this case than just movie money, book money, bus money. People has got a deep hatred for this man and wants to dispel his reputation, his character. They want to assault. You talk about a character assassination. they they assassinated his character more than he did his wife. Would like to ask each other under oath. You know, you get people under oath in depositions, you can ask a lot of questions and you can get a lot of answers. You really can. If there's ever a lawsuit, Madison, it was meteoric rise. It was a meteoric rise carried a high price for the former U.S. Marine. So Mr. Davison says that it carried a high price for this former U.S. Marine. I got news for you, Mr. Davison. Your research is not as good as you think, which we've done figured that out, but this was not a United States Marine. Buford Pusser was not a United States Marine. Buford Pusser, and you can ask any United States Marine out there, Buford Pusser was not a Marine. He was what was known as a non-hacker. If you go into the Marines, you're probably better off to never try the Marines than to try the Marines and can't make it because you're even worse shape than you was by not going. At least by not going, you can say, well, I didn't want to be a Marine. But if you try it and you can't make it, it lives with you the rest of your life. Unless in this case, where he got medically discharged and he got the benefits. That's why before you go into the military, a lot of times they check you for different things, hernias and flat foot and different things. Yeah. So you don't get in there and they have to give you a disability or discharge you.
Yeah.
They catch it before you get in there. Now, asthma is something that can affect you because we run a lot, but also it's a dischargeable thing. If you can't make it through boot camp, all of a sudden, start having asthma attacks, can't run, can't breathe, can't. Well, you do a lot of running in the Marines, and you'll think you got asthma. You think you got everything in the world. Time you run 6, 10 miles, whatever, 6 or 10 miles. I said. He's a non-hacker. He's not a United States Marine. So I have found so many discrepancies in there. Again, was Pauline born? Who's got the birth certificate? Was she born in 1931 or 1934? Where's the birth certificate? That's elementary. That should have been one of the first things that ever come up in the TBI's investigation, a copy of her birth certificate. TBI investigated Buford and didn't uncover that he was not a Marine.
Yeah.
Not a Marine, not a murderer. Not being a Marine doesn't make him a murderer, but he's definitely not a Marine. In fact, TBI states that he was a Marine. That's your investigators, guys. I mean, if you'll make a mistake about one thing or 5 things, 15 things, Will you make a mistake about something else? Of course. If a person will tell a fib about one thing, will he tell a fib about two or three? Or, of course. I'm not saying anybody's fibbed. I'm not saying that. Davison said he has been asked if there are plans to look into the killing of Hathcock, Louis Hathcock. He's been asked. Now, he's a big investigator now. He's done solved this case by a grand jury, and a grand jury would indict. He's done and solved this case by more likely than not. He solved this case by, well, the gun's not consistent with the weapon that we had, but it was in the same class or whatever he said. He's not proved nothing here. With the way this case was investigated, I sure hope not. He was asked if he was going to start looking into the Hathcock case, but he goes on to say, murdering your wife and staging the crime scene, that would raise red flags to me about other occurrences, things he claimed. See, guys, there's some hatred for Buford Pusser here. There's some hatred. Where is allegedly, as an attorney, he talks as if Buford Pusser has been convicted, found guilty. Listen what murdering your wife and staging the crime scene. He talks as if it's a fact. That raises red flags to me.
Yeah.
That maybe other occurrences took place. Madison. Madison, there's a lot of people out there that would be on your side. There's a lot of people that are rooting for you and rooting for justice. I'm not going to say rooting for Buford. Again, this could be Fred McCoy.
Yeah.
When I'm dead and gone, now people's got different personalities and attitudes in life. When I'm dead and gone, I really don't care. Say what you want to about Fred. I put thousands and thousands in jail in 40 years. I've done a good job. I've always tried to be honest. But people like this right here standing in them suits that's got these egos, got these positions, that hurts. That would hurt somebody like that. If somebody was to make an allegation against them and get a rumor started after they're deceased, they would hate that for their family because they want to go down as being noble, being somebody. Fred's a YouTuber now. Fred don't care. We're going to try not to go back to that time and undo all that. I'm glad you're not going to try to, because you'd probably have a cluster in that part too. Sure hope not. Take these great investigative skills and find Sebastian this summer. How about that? How about we start concentrating on finding who killed, who murdered, who's responsible for the disappearance.
There you go.
See, I don't know that. They may still be alive, and we hope and pray they are today, unless they've been abused. And then I hope they're going on to heaven, because there's worse things than being dead as a child. I would be ashamed of the TBI that I couldn't solve Sebastian Rogers. I don't know nothing about Summers. We didn't work that one.
We didn't.
We've investigated. We've looked at Sebastian Rogers' case. That case is solvable real fast. You guys are too busy out here lollygagging, trying to get into the movies. So I feel you, babe. Some say the investigation might have been wasted of research. He says, Mr. Davidson says, some people say this investigation may be a waste of resources. Yeah. Yeah, here's two of them.
It was.
Not only a waste, but fraudulent and twisted information to fit their narrative, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of fraudulent statements made, a lot of pointing in different directions. That's not the direction that it was meant to go in, or the truth. Twisted. If Pauline was your sister or your mother, you'd want the record corrected, Davison said. Really? Pauline is the grandmother of Madison. Madison says, I just wish they'd leave us alone. Our family's been through enough. Grandpa's not here to defend himself. He's a dead man. What are you talking about here? Why, Mr. Davison, does it just go to the mother or the sister? How about a granddaughter? How about a daughter? How much did it affect the daughter with what's his name, the bus driver? How much did it affect the daughter, Darwa?
Well, if you hadn't said that,
how much did it Dewana? How much did it affect Dewana? What people were saying about her father and her mother. How much did it affect? Because see, we've been trying to find the cause of death for Dewana.
Mhm.
Some places it says mysterious, some places not found, some places it says something else.
Mhm.
We'll
Mhm.
find out. We'll find out. We're going to be doing another video when we go to the museum and the graveyard and New Hope Church. We're going to find out and we'll post on it. Reckon that had anything to do with people's allegations against her dad? There may be more lawsuits that's possible out there that drove, that bullied, her into doing what she done. If that's the truth, what we're hearing now,
Right.
we'll let you know. Most would want it corrected if it needed to be corrected. If it needed to be corrected, most people would want it corrected. There's nothing to correct here. It's 58 years later. They should have corrected it
When it happened.
58 years ago, but corrected with proof and truth, not corrected to defame and slander someone or to fit a narrative. Guys, these people are no more famous than Buford Pusser. These people are now more famous than Buford
Mhm.
Pusser. Believe it. Believe it. Mr. Mark Davison is more famous than Buford Pusser. Google Buford Pusser. Google Buford Pusser. YouTube Buford Pusser. See what comes up first in line. Mark Davison. Mark Davison. TBI. Special prosecutor. Attorney General. Whatever he is. Guys, these people are more famous than Buford Pusser. Everybody in the country, everybody in county was his friend. Don't make sense to shoot self. You know, we heard that one girl on that first movie or second. She said, nobody liked him. I knew it was wrong. She's not even 50. She's not, Buford's been dead 51 years, and she's probably not even 51 years old. So, but they say that everybody in the county loved Buford. If they did, why would he have to shoot himself in the face? FBI enters McNary murder case. Hired killers are chief suspect. That's your
See,
newspaper.
next was after day after.
13th.
Okay.
FBI enters McNary murder case. Hired killers are chief suspects.
Hi.
FBI. We're going to show you an FBI paper here in a minute. This is the front page of the newspaper.
Mhm.
This is the car shot up. This is all the people. If you can, you can't read it real good because it's blurry,
Right.
but she can at least put
I'll
the
put it at
headline.
the end. Yeah.
In
I
fact,
see
she
it.
may just, since you can't read it real good, she may just stick it right in here
Okay.
as you go through. That's where Pauline's thing says that she was born in 1931, but
Mhm.
yet her tombstone says
Tombstone.
34.
Mhm.
Which one is it? TBI should know.
That's interesting.
Mr. Davison should know. He should have a copy of her birth certificate so everybody can know what date she was actually born on. Attractive blonde, wife of crime busting sheriff, was killed by a shotgun blast and the sheriff wounded Saturday when they apparently drove into a trap and were ambushed. There's a newspaper.
Yeah.
Sumner, Tennessee.
Mhm. Mm-mm-mm.
Tells all about it.
Yeah. Well, I can
FBI.
add these at the end.
Okay.
Or
FBI. 8/14/67. 2 days later.
okay.
2 days later. He was shot on the 12th. She was killed on the 12th. Two, FBI director from SAC, Memphis. Special agent in charge, Memphis office. His unit number, I guess, was
Okay.
62-0.
Okay.
Subject, Sheriff Buford Pusser, McNary County, Sumner, Tennessee. Information concerning. On 8/14 at approximately, people says people don't make mistakes. FBI, look at your date up top. He's sending this post on 8/14. This Western Union or whatever it is that he's sending
Mhm.
on 8/14. Down here he says on 8/14. I think what he meant was 8/12.
12. Yeah.
On 8/14 at approximately 4:30 a.m., Sheriff Buford Pusser, McNary County, Tennessee, received a telephone call at his residence to go on a complaint and tells all about it. She'll post it.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear me read it. That's where the FBI became involved. FBI is offering their services. TBI agents and local authorities are conducting investigations to identify the unknown assailants. The unknown assailants.
Assailants.
Yeah, assailants plural, but
Mhm.
unknown.
Yeah.
Buford's known, guys. Buford's known to them. That's the sheriff of the county. Unknown assailants.
Yeah.
The services of the Bureau's laboratory were offered to the TBI. Memphis is following local investigations and will keep the Bureau fully advised. This is the FBI agent saying that they've offered full access to the FBI labs and anything they can do. They've offered their services, and that the Memphis FBI office is going to keep tabs and see what's going on with the Buford Pusser case.
Right.
There's 3 of his deputies. One of them's his dad, Carl Pusser. Buford Pusser. Yeah, I said it right.
Yeah, you did.
At a news conference in Sumner. Oh, it's only 30 minutes. This is before we continued on.
Yeah.
At a news conference in Somerville, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, alongside District Attorney General Mark Davison and University of Tennessee at Martin, revealed shocking findings of the 1967 murder of Pauline Pusser. Guys, this is just going to be a fast review. I'm trying to work my way up to the autopsy, and then we'll be done. Stay with us if you want. The autopsy is going to be interesting. It's been said that the dead cannot cry out for justice. It is the duty of the living to do so. In this case, that duty has been carried out 58 years later, said D.A. Davison. Fred McCoy says, bullcrap. Bullcrap. Nothing but slander and libel, in my opinion. The dead cry out for justice. I believe if Pauline could cry out for justice right now, it would be justice for her husband for being slanderously accused of something he didn't do. That's laying right beside him right now in the ground. That's unbelievable. The death cry out for justice. Where is the justice that Buford Pusser is crying out for right now for his reputation? Where's that justice? How can we? And then there's the people. There's the, you can post a picture of that
I'll
if you
post
would.
all of this at the end so they
Okay.
can see everything as you're talking about.
There's the people. Now, what parties they had or who them other people are, we don't know. We know that the guy talking at the counter is Mark Davison, and the guy in the back there is the head of the TBI.
Okay.
Roush. Know those two.
Okay.
Initially, Sheriff Buford Pusser reported he and his wife were ambushed while responding to a call. Pauline was killed, and Pusser was shot in the face.
There he is.
Friday, TBI tells the evidence now tells a different story. Now, this is in the newspaper, and it says the TBI says the evidence now tells a different story. This is not Mr. Davison. TBI says the evidence. Let's see what the evidence, guys, is. The evidence tells a different story. What is the evidence? Wait till you hear the autopsy. There is no evidence. Pauline Pusser was more than. I hope she can post some of this there, but
This is
more than. Just think of those two words. Pauline Pusser was more than shot outside the vehicle and then placed inside the vehicle, said D.A. Davison. Here he is again. More than likely shot outside the vehicle and then placed inside. More than likely, more than not, she was shot outside and put inside the vehicle. More than likely. What kind of evidence is that? I more than likely got a whole head full of hair. More than likely. Look at all the guys out there my age that's got whole heads full of hair. More than likely, I should have a whole head full of hair. Don't. More than likely. Evidence suggests. What evidence? But it says evidence suggests that cranial trauma suffered by Pauline depicted in crime scene photographs does not match the interior crime scene photographs of the vehicle. Evidence suggests. Where's the vehicle? How can you look at a picture? How can you depicted in the crime scene photographs does not match the interior crime scene photographs of the vehicle? There's the interior. There's the interior of the vehicle.
Yeah.
You got blood splatter on the hood, which we think come from Buford, but here's your blood. This is where her brains were blown out. Her brains were blown out inside that car. You don't have blood splatter like that on the hood. This is it inside the vehicle. Look at the seat. Go find all the pictures of this. Look at the seat. Look going down here below. Look on down through there at the basin of the door.
Yeah.
The door frame. Look at the seat before they cleaned it. Shot outside. She must have had 20 quarts of blood because she's lost her 6 pints of blood inside the car. Blood splatter on the hood outside of the vehicle contradicts Buford Pusser's statement, said D.A. Davison. Blood splatter on the hood outside of the vehicle contradicts Buford Pusser's statement. Guys, Buford Pusser couldn't talk. Buford Pusser's whole face is blown off.
Yeah.
Buford Pusser went through 14 surgeries, reconstructive surgeries, even after that. Where'd they get this story? How do we know that that's not the person taking the report? How do they know that they're not he's trying to tell them something and they're
misunderstanding
what they're construing and what he's saying is two different things. TBI investigated the first time. Who's wrong? The TBI investigated this case 58 years ago. They investigated it. FBI even offered to help. Who's wrong? Who did they do a turbo investigation back then? They just couldn't find her butt from a hole in the ground and they gave up on it? Are these people today so smart that all of a sudden they've solved this case from 58 years ago that other agents couldn't solve? Or did they solve it legend in their own mind? Are they a legend in their own mind? I think the latter. A medical examiner reveals the gunshot wound to Buford Pusser's cheek was close contact, not long range, and, quote, likely self-inflicted. See how Mr. Davison, he loves to quote these other people. He loves to not act like it's from him. He wants to. A medical examiner, underline that, reveals the gunshot wound to Buford Pusser's cheek was close contact. Guys, I'm not a medical examiner. We're not anything except I've worked hundreds of gunshots in my career, 40-year career. I've worked hundreds.
But didn't the doctor say that it was wasn't close range? Or am I wrong on that? No, his personal doctor. Somebody said he was shot at least 2 to 3 times.
That was his doctor. To Buford cheek was close contact. If you look, Sheila and I have gone over this close contact stuff time after time. So if you followed us along to video 6, we don't have to tell you about the powder residue or the dots all over the specks of powder that he would have from close range if that gun was anywhere close to his face. Now, Mr. Davis says the gun was put inside of his mouth and shot outward. It would have blown his head off. The gases from a .357 Magnum would have blown his head off. So it didn't happen. But he says that medical examiner says it's self-inflicted. We haven't seen that report. We've got the autopsy report for Pauline, and we think it's a pretty decent report. We don't think this person is trying to go real far. They try to give.
You're trying to stay neutral?
Stay neutral or at least give it to you either way, but they try to tell you that it cannot be determined if this. We'll get to that in a minute, but a ballistics expert. Now he's gone from the medical examiner. Now he's going to ballistics. A ballistics expert reported that physical evidence in the case does not support Buford Pusser's version of events and indicates a staged scene. The ballistics expert, what would a ballistics expert in identifying ammunition or round or trajectory and different things? A ballistics expert reports that the physical evidence of this case does not support Buford Pusser's version of events that indicates it was a staged scene. The location of cartridges, bullet trajectories, and bloodstain patterns are inconsistent with Buford Pusser's statement. Again, guys, we don't know who made this statement for Buford Pusser. He spent the first 18 days in the hospital. Is this his statement? Is this a statement that somebody wrote? The DA's office, or does it even contradict? See, we haven't seen the statement.
Right.
You would think when you're going to come out with a news conference like this right here, you'd say, hey, media, here, there's your copy. Give everybody here a copy of this.
Right.
Give everybody in here a copy of this report so everybody's got the chance to understand it. You don't go out here and hold a press conference and badmouth somebody and demeanor them and slander them and then say, we'll have the reports out here in a little while. Y'all can make an appointment to come to Tennessee to look at it if you want. What kind of dog and pony show is that? The DA's office believes that TBI has created sufficient evidence. Guys, listen how this is worded. This tells you right here
First,
as an investigator. The
Right.
DA's office believes that the TBI has created sufficient evidence. We do too.
created.
We do too. He couldn't have said it more perfect. The DA's
Instead of
office
saying
believes,
gathered.
yeah, instead of gathered
Or-
evidence
Yeah.
or found evidence to prove a fact or to, we believe that the TBI has created sufficient evidence to create probable cause. If that sentence don't tell you the TBI has created sufficient evidence to create probable cause. If Buford were alive today to indict him to the McNary grand jury for the murder of Pauline, guys, you can indict a bologna sandwich. It's nothing to indict somebody. Stand there and tell these 12 people a story. And if you look good enough, dress good enough, act halfway sensible, they ain't going to hear no exculpatory evidence against it. They're just going to hear the one side, especially from a prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
You're indicted. What about, is it enough to get, if Buford were alive today to indict? How about if Buford was alive today to convict him in McNary County Court? Could they convict him?
Instead of indicted.
You can't do slander somebody over an indictment, over a possible, he didn't even have an indictment. You're slandering them and saying that you could get an indictment on them, no doubt. As a prosecutor, you know you can get an indictment. You can get an indictment against anybody. And you know that. Look at the wording. Look at the wording. Created probable cause. Could have get an indictment. They want, this is for the people that's not into law, not into crime scenes, not into justice system. And you just think, wow, this prosecutor saying they could get an indictment.
Mm-hmm.
An indictment is nothing, guys. TBI investigative files are confidential under state law with very limited exceptions. However, the DA's office and the TBI have decided to make these files public. The files will be made available to the public after closure by the TBI when they're going to close it. And the files will be kept at the University of Tennessee at Martin. What are they going to be kept there for? Why don't you put them online? Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, everybody's online. What would you keep them there for? And why wasn't they given out the day of this press conference? And why would you think you could keep them private? You've slandered a man's name plumb into the dirt, and then you think you're not going to have to show the case file? Their commitment to maintaining, now this is D.A. Davison saying this.
Okay.
He's talking about the TBI. Their commitment to maintaining and preserving the integrity of those records will ensure that future generations, scholars, historians, and citizens alike will have access to the investigative file, said D.A. Davison. Wow. Wow. What a side in history. Do you get it, guys? Forevermore, for the ensure that the future generations, scholars, historians, and citizens alike will have access to this file. What's on that file? How about Mark Davison, famous now? How about Roush, whatever his position is in the TBI, famous now? Preserving the integrity of those records. Boys, I'll tell you what, in my opinion, I'm not seeing a lot of integrity out of Mr. Davison or the TBI guy, Roush. I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. Just like he said up there a while ago, created a case, created evidence. The autopsy of Pauline also revealed previous injuries and healing prior to the death, and a nasal fracture on the right side of her nose, most commonly interpersonal trauma. We've discussed that. Right side of her nose, right side of her nose would have been with his left hand.
Mhm.
He's right-handed. I wonder what Vance.
I wonder what he was.
I wonder what Pete Vance, her first husband. I wonder if he's left or right-handed.
Woman.
I wonder if she had a broke nose at all, guys. Did you not hear the comment up there that the TBI created? The DA's office believes that TBI has created sufficient evidence to create probable cause to indict. Buford's statement inconsistency. Here's one of his statements. We couldn't find them. We can't find them nowhere. These statements that they say are inconsistent, we can't find them. Are they his? Are they somebody else that's been written? How much weight does that carry? He was looking directly at Pauline when she was hit again in the forehead. He had not been hit by a bullet yet. He said she was hit again. You're going to hear in the autopsy a while ago where they don't know how many times they was hit. The skull was so messed up.
Mhm.
So hit again or hit once. That's not saying he's inconsistent. She was hit again. He's there with her. Did he see her hit twice? Because he says one shot went through the forehead. Did he see the brains come out the forehead when she was shot from the rear, or was she actually shot from the front? A car got in front. I don't know what the windshield looks like on that car. Was there a bullet hole in the front windshield that could have come through and hit her? Or is that something he just a visual? You look over at your wife while you're trying to drive and get away, and you see brains come out, and you're thinking, findings from the February 9th, 2024 autopsy. A huge inconsistency with this statement is that Pauline's autopsy does not show a frontal forehead entry wound. Unbelievable. It really is. Findings from the February 9th autopsy, a huge inconsistency with the statement was that there's no frontal forehead entry wound. Now, you're going to hear here in a minute, we don't know all these medical terms,
Right.
but there's one of them we looked up, and it says that you can't tell if it's entrance or exit wound in the skull. Could it have been both? Could she have been shot more than once in the head? Let's see. Pauline Pusser's autopsy results. This is not the report yet. I'm just going to review, but where are we at? 47? After 57 years, Pauline Pusser's death has become 57 years. Pauline re-examined through a modern forensic autopsy conducted in February 24. The official report has now been released, and the findings are significant. Are they? We don't think they are. Cause of death, gunshot wound to the head. Manner of death, homicide. Trajectory, at least one bullet entered the back of her head. So-and-so bone traveling back to the front. So it came out the front or towards the front. Additional injuries, multiple skull fractures, and defects that could represent additional gunshots, but cannot be proven because of the bone loss and reconstruction. Now,
this is the optical.
Okay, you want to show that, or you want to just put that on the picture? Put it up here to the camera.
They're seeing it there.
Oh.
See that?
Guys, if you want to prove something exculpatory, you can. You know, there's an old saying, if you want to do something, you'll make a way.
Right.
And if you don't want to do something, you'll make an excuse. Same way with evidence. If you want to make it look like there was just one single shot going through from the back to the front, you can word it like that. If you want to cover your bases, then you can word it like
multiple.
It's possible that there was multiple shots. Multiple skull fractures and defects that could represent additional gunshots, but cannot be proven because of the bone loss and reconstruction. So, was she shot one time? Was she shot 5? Represent additional gunshots. Could represent additional gunshots, but cannot be proven because they can't prove it. So your autopsy once again told you the name, Pauline Pusser,
Mm-hmm.
told you she was shot, and told you somebody murdered her.
Mm.
They done it. It was a homicide. Because it's saying there, they don't know how many times she's shot. They know she shot at least once, but could be multiple times. But there's so much brain, so much skull missing, they
Right.
can't determine. Notable findings: evidence of a healed nasal fracture from prior trauma, predating her death. No soot or sippings suggest the shots were fired from an undetermined or distant range. There's no soot, there's no powder residue,
Okay.
so she wasn't shot up close.
Okay.
Toxicology, only presumptive caffeine screen. Okay, so she drank a cup of coffee that morning. I guess before they had a domestic, they got up and drank some coffee together. Was detected.
Yeah.
No alcohol, no drugs at reported levels. The report also confirms that Pauline never had proper autopsy in 1967. She didn't have a proper autopsy. She
She
didn't
didn't.
have an autopsy, period.
Right.
Instead of her body, instead her body was reconstructed at the funeral home that limited the ability to answer some questions, like the number of bullets or exact shooter positions. The pathologist collected FTA blood spot cards along with other evidence: hair, fingernails, clippings, skull fragments, and fingerprints. I'm sure glad we got her fingerprints, guys, and clipped her nails for her. That's going to tell us that Buford done it. Bottom line, the 2024 autopsy rules Pauline's death a homicide
By
by
gun.
gunfire. It seems the most amazing thing is that they could tell by doing her autopsy on Pauline that Buford's wounds were self-inflicted and,
Mm.
and close up. It's been called a dog and pony show and even a clown show. No matter what it's called, it is a sad day when they defame a man with no evidence. Circumstantial at best. They mention new evidence. However, the splatter was not new evidence. It's always been there. Where's the car? Where is the blood splatter? Not photographs, but the blood. If you're going to open a case, if you're going to defame somebody like this, have everything in line. From the mention of the word circumstantial, kind of, could have been, we believe, and there's so many more. So many more. Circumstantial, could have been, kind of. That's the words that's been used, not we have evidence, confirmed evidence,
Right.
hard evidence, physical evidence to prove this or that. We knew they had nothing to show as far as evidence, nothing but speculation brought on by the author, tour guide, and YouTuber. Well, TBI, I'll tell you what, I'm new book coming out. No doubt this YouTuber, bus driver, retired law enforcement, no doubt he's got a new book he's working on right now because he just got the TBI to reopen a case and
Mhm.
a prosecutor to stand there and back up everything he's been telling people on these tours. I've got I've got credibility now. They're backing me up. They're saying exactly the same thing I said with not one shred of evidence.
That's not cool.
Instead of where's the beef? Where's the evidence? Remember that back in the 70s?
Yeah. The
Where's the
elevator.
beef? I can just see her now. Where's the evidence? Fingerprints. They knew who she was.
Yeah.
They just want another page put in that report. Autopsy. It's kind of like relevance that Buford killed her. If you get her fingerprints, that means Buford killed her. These guys should be working for Copperfield or other magicians because this is a magic show, guys. This is the right hand doing this while the left hand is doing something else. They have got people's attention. They have got people believing what they're selling.
Mhm.
There's people believing it.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot that's not, grant you. There's a lot of smart people out there that reads through it. All right, we're down to the autopsy. There's Pauline. There's her 1931 thing where they say she was. Now we are down to the autopsy. What are we at? Oh Lordy, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord.
Mm.
There's the autopsy report for Pauline Pusser. Guys, we're at an hour and 55 minutes.
We're gonna have to go.
This is
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I don't know if y'all can see the yellow, but we'll probably just title this next one instead of 6, or what? That's in 6, ain't it? Instead
I
of
have no
7,
idea now.
this one here will be autopsy. This will be the autopsy report, and that should finish us up until we get to the museum and down in Adamsville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Guys, we understand that this is not for everybody. We know the Buford Pusser case is not. Everybody says Fred and Sheila just does things for clicks. We've always said we don't.
Right.
We like to do videos that people will watch. We'd be crazy.
Exactly.
But if we done it for clicks, we'd be on something else that gets more clicks. There's other cases in the news right now that's getting millions of clicks. That's not us. We get on something and we stay on it till we get done, and then we move on. This is not about clicks. These videos are for the historian, the people that really started out following this case and want to follow it through. We should have one more, 2 more by the time we get back from Tennessee, but this here will be the autopsy coming up will be our last video on this, on the investigative part. Thanks for joining us. Sheila, you're up.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We hope you're doing well. Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye. God bless.